What's up, everybody? This is Edward back with another video, and I'm gonna try to make this quick as possible. This video is about conquering. I titled it, conquer. Why you need to conquer your mom. Why every black man needs to conquer his mom. A woman by the name of Veronica Conway once said that you can never officially become an adult until you fire your parents. This is a woman that said this. This is a woman that was a daughter of the Black Panthers. This is a woman that got married tried to rebel against that by getting married into a Christian, hyper-Christian, family that didn't work out. Woman is raised some very strong and smart kids, despite, her husband. And she did get married before she had the kids. So this is a woman that can actually play those roles. I say that because I want you to know this is not some ultra patriarchal mentality that I'm saying. This is something that I got from a woman, but this stuff has been reaffirmed by Bgs Ibmor and reaffirmed by guys like Glendon Cameron. And most black men, most of your YouTubers know this. Most of your Alan Roger Currys or Ron Wills talks about it as well. But for whatever reason, a lot of these dudes, they don't want to be known. They're afraid. They don't want to be known to be that type of guy because they just don't want to deal with it. And it's really not fine, but it is what it is. And I'll get into that in a minute. But I'm still currently listening to this video. I'm about 20 minutes in of Glendon Cameron talking, and link will be in the description. It's important that you listen to this video, talking about, an issue with, just talking about intergenerational curses with his own personal family, his own personal situation. And this is a guy that's very successful. This is a guy that's come from a lot of struggle and has become very successful. So this is not a dude that's a complainer. This is a dude that's been in the military, all that good stuff. So the point is, BGS, I'll probably have a link tree in the video as well below eventually to talk about various videos that BGS has talked about. And the reality of the situation is, this is not really about the women. Most of these guys already know about this, and quite frankly, I want you to listen to that video with Glendon, because that's going to kind of reaffirm some stuff from a new face. So you understand, this is not just one person talking about this. And the first 15 minutes, I can tell you, is really all you need to hear to know what I'm talking about. But this is really not about the women. What this is about is, what I want to talk about today really quick is why black men don't have the courage to challenge their moms. Your mother is your greatest representative. In the black community, your mom is the greatest representative of the matriarchy. Think of her as a matriarchal sales rep. And a lot of this has nothing to do with so much the women. It's really about female nature. And what happens is, because in the black community, we have a bad habit of deifying our mothers, meaning our mothers can do no wrong. And what we do is we front load all the blame onto the fathers. Shout out, Larry Elder does a lot of this shit. What that does is that psychologically fucks us up. Number one, it can turn us into coons. It can turn us into ultra simps. It can make us deal with nothing but fat females, thinking that's what we want, when in reality we have low self-esteem. We don't exert ourselves as black men. And when a lot of times when your women are getting mad at you and they start saying, you're not a man, you're not this, you're not that, what they're really saying is, you are not checking me. And part of checking a woman is letting her know that you will leave her, that you will abandon her, and you will replace her. If she doesn't care about you, then that doesn't matter. And if you're not willing to do that, she will eventually lose respect for you. And what happens is, and BGS actually talked about this recently with the coddling, is black women are really not capable of doing this right now. Our women have been soaked in the culture for so long of basically nothing's their fault. It's always somebody else's fault. That's all they really know for the most part. And the women that obviously don't fit this bill tend to have better outcomes with men. Even women like a Cardi B, who is not a necessarily virtuous woman, has a better relationship with men than a lot of sisters, or like an Amber Rose. Even though I don't consider Amber Rose really a sister like that, they come from pretty much the same background. The main difference is Cardi B has a better family than Amber Rose. Amber Rose has a lot of these same intergenerational curses. That's really the only difference. They were both strippers. They're both light-skinned. Amber Rose actually looks better. Yet, Cardi B has surpassed her. And Cardi B surpassed Amber Rose, too. Really, in my opinion, before she actually blew up in music. And Amber Rose and Cardi B, and I'm mentioning them because those are really bottom feeders. Those are not even functional. So if she has a better relationship with men and she is on some dysfunctional stuff, then what excuse do other people have? But anyway, off that side tangent. Black men view other black women through the eyes of their mom. Now, they may say they don't. They may act like they don't. But the reality is when you listen to a lot of simps or a lot of dudes that they get emotional when black men talk about doing something that's black male first, their first thought is really thinking about their mom. I can tell. I can literally see the switch in their head when they start thinking this way. And when they start defending black women, they're really defending their mom. This is why when you say things like your mama, black men instantly are trained to get emotional and angry. You talk about somebody's father, though, which a dude should theoretically have a better identity with, they tend not to get as mad. Some of that could be the dad's not around, but a lot of that is whether he's around or not. It's always this push that a woman has to where she wants to control shit. And women, quite frankly, a lot of women see marriage as an oppressive institution, and that's why they always get divorced. And for people that want to say black women want to get married, well, black women don't want to stay married. So there's a difference between getting married and staying married. I know every woman wants a wedding. Everybody don't want to be married, though. Let's keep that real. That's a video in and of itself. But what I want you to understand, when you listen to that Glendon Cameron video, is when the men in your family, when you're a kid and you're coming up, because when Glendon was talking about, how nobody was telling me the truth, that's actually the last part I got with the video. I was thinking about a lot of the men, I was actually thinking about Luke Cage as well, and a lot of the men in the family, they will say they won't go after these women. They won't say, we're going to talk about this, and if we don't talk about it, y'all going to be on y'all fucking own. Most of these men, they go along to get along because they think eventually it's going to be okay. And it's not. It moves on to the next generation till it eventually gets dealt with, or it doesn't. Or that bloodline dies out. Or people get away from motherfuckers and they isolate themselves from motherfuckers. And that goes back to the hangout we had with BGS when dude was talking about his mom was using him as a drug mule. And then we got people, you know who you are, talking about the group was wrong for isolating these women. Yet these are the very same Negroes that want to talk about we need to be more group-minded. This is the cognitive dissonance dumb shit that people say because they're not really talking logical. They're talking with from a subjective standpoint. So they're not really listening to what's being said, and that happens a lot. But my point is, it starts with your mom. If you can't conquer your mom, you're never gonna have a really rulership mentality with women, because at the end, and I don't give a fuck if you fucking a lot of pussy. Because because let's be clear here. When you look at dudes in the child support courts, all them dudes done fucked something. So it's not about, oh, well, you're not getting pussy, so that means you ain't doing nothing. I'm getting pussy, so I have a problem. I don't give a fuck how much pussy you get. It only takes one woman to go left on your ass. And yeah, you got like 1% or 2% of dudes that they dick game is so strong that they just imprint bitches on command, but most black men are not like that. And by the way, even black men that can imprint women, that do imprint women, those are the black women that hate you the most. So dudes that try to say, well, I don't have these issues with women, okay, that may be true for them, but those are exceptions to those rules. And just because you haven't been bit by that monster does not mean that monster doesn't exist. And a lot of these dudes tend to have the mentality where they think that monster doesn't exist. And a lot of dudes think the same way with white supremacy. White supremacy doesn't exist because I haven't been bit by it. Well, I don't talk about it from the perspective of white supremacy. I talk about it from the perspective of economic competition. And the same thing here. I talk about it from not can you get pussy or can you not get pussy. I talk about it from a group when it comes to the matriarchy. So, at the end of the day, I'm going to do a part 2 really talking about how you need to conquer your mom. What are the mentalities you need to have. Because when I say conquer your mom, a lot of you all are going to get triggered. And you all are going to think I mean things that I don't mean. Because I have a great relationship with my mom. But at the same time, there's a difference between once your mom raises you to be a man, at some point you need to take over control of the dynasty. Or of the legacy. And a lot of y'all never really grow the fuck up. This is why you hear dudes talking about you need to have your own kids. Quite frankly, it's not that you need to have your own kids. You need to come into your manhood by pretty much taking control of your family. Taking control of the direction of your legacy and of your family's dynasty. And part of that requires you to know what happened in your family. And a lot of these people don't want to talk about shit because it's painful. And they're going to be like, look, you're going to have to get over that pain. And some of y'all going to have to start telling the truth. Now, luckily, my grandfather told me the truth of a lot of things that my mom would have never told me. And it's not about judging your parents. It's about you knowing so you don't subconsciously repeat the same history. A lot of things BGS says can apply geopolitics and understanding history can be applied to your own families. And a lot of y'all don't know what happened in your families because you all don't want to face it. And by the way, Luke Cage, the season of Luke Cage is a perfect example of that. That's a perfect example of what a lot, not what a lot of goes on, but it's an extreme example. But it's an example of things that do go on in black families. And because if you don't deal with these things, if you can't deal with it if you don't know, and if you don't know, if you can't deal with it if you don't know, and if you and you also can never move on if you don't deal with it. And the women don't have the fortitude to face these things. They don't. As strong and independent as black women want to say, black women fall into the same trick bag. I'm going to leave you with this. Nicki Minaj's brother got convicted of rape. He raped a girl from 11 years old to 14 years old. This girl was in his house because he was the stepfather of the woman he married. This girl. And the reality of the situation is you got women that do not have, well, no, most women do not have the ability or the wisdom to handle this shit. They just don't. They won't. And BGS has stated shame, guilt, and the need to be right. And women, and even Yvonne Van Zam has stated this. And as a result, these curses are passed down because they're never dealt with. Now, men have a much better ability to face it, but the problem is the men are afraid of the pushback. And really, a lot of men are afraid to get the fuck away from the women, even in their families. And you got to be willing to do that. Because if that's not a credible threat, this is why I talk about things like the great pullout. Because if it's not a credible threat that you will leave and pull all your resources and you will convince other men in your family to do so, then these women will never heal. And when I say heal, I'm talking about fall the fuck back and allow the shit that needs to be allowed. You know, BGS, Kevin Samuels, I've heard Ron Will say this. They always talk about sometimes you got to pimp women. And they talk about the need for women need a pimp in order to do a lot of psychological things. If you listen to BGS, you know what I'm talking about. They also talk about how women have to deal with each other. Even Max City Limits has talked about this, where women have to learn how to deal with other women, and the pimp has to be the moderator because they need a guy to do that. This, I hate to say this, and this is going to sound bad, but that I'm not calling that role a pimp, but the reality is there has to be guys that serve that role in your family, even if it's an extended family. Otherwise, what happens is the women will try to do it, and they're never truly able to do it. And this is not to say women can't do it. You got women like Judge Hatchett. You got women like Sherazade Ali. You got women like Dr. Frances Quest Wilson that are capable of doing this, wise women. In fact, I'm going to put the video in and talk about wise women with BGS. But the problem with that is those are rare. Those are rare even in a functional community. And in our community, they're virtually non-existent at this point. So anyway, let me know what you think. Like I said, listen to that video with Glendon Cameron. If you're a male, definitely join Disruptive Male. I'll link that in the description as well. And let me know what you... Oh, I'm going to ask you a particular question. Because that's what I'm doing now. Do you think that black men need to learn how to surpass their mothers? Do you think this is an issue? If you do think this is an issue, what do you think are the reasons why, other than what I stated, as to why black men won't do it? And the last question is, do you think that this is the main reason a lot of black men have fucked up relationships as far as perspectives with black women in general? Anyway, let me know what you think. This is Edward signing off. Make sure you like, share, subscribe. Peace.